Hey everyone, how are you doing? Happy Burns Night. It's weird because as somebody living in Scotland, I don't often celebrate Burns Night, but having lived in France and having lived in England, I find I almost become more Scottish when I'm not at home. And given that I've married an English husband, as many of you know, we did a bit of a Burns Night thing at the weekend when his friends were staying, and I thought tonight we need to do something Scottishy for Burns Night. And as it happens, there is just the perfect stamp set for it in the new spring summer catalogue that came out. So I'm going to jump straight to it because you're more interested in the crafting than my face. But can I just point out, I'm wearing my sparkly blue tartan dress for today. This is my latest Popsy dress. I love Popsy dresses, if you don't know that already about me. But anyway, let's jump to the crafting because I know that's the bit you're all here to see. And pop the lights on. It is definitely getting gloomier at the moment, isn't it? Hey Karen, hey Marion, glad you could join me. Right, so no prizes for guessing which stamp set we're going to be using tonight. If you've had your catalogue and if you're having a look through it, you must know which one I'm going for. Ta-da, the beautiful Thistle stamp set and the matching and coordinating dies. This is a gorgeous stamp set. As soon as I saw it in the catalogue, I thought I have to get that. I'm going to do at least 2 different cards tonight. I have plans in my mind on what they're going to look like. So I'm just going to jump straight to it. So let's start off. So this is a red rubber stamp set. Yes, you can see I've not used it yet. Does that make this a Wing It Wednesday? I don't know. Sometimes I have planned and prepped in advance. For this particular one, I'm surrounded by all the bits that I'm going to use. This is a good way to show you how I mount my stamps. So if they are red rubber, you just literally poke them out. So there's little bits just to pull apart here. And then there's a backing that needs to come off. Now, a lot of people don't put the sticker on. They just leave that backing as it is. And one of the reasons they do that is that previously the backing that we used to get wasn't particularly sticky, and people used to think that their stamps wouldn't stick with it. But now Stampin' Up! Have brought out a far stickier clear mount backing. You might have noticed I only peeled off half of it, so that because I wanted to stick that down into place, and then I'm going to peel that off. And once I'm happy that I've got it, I can then do the other half. With this new backing, so this is called Cling Mount, and you'll have seen it on the stamp sets. It now says Cling Stamp Set, whereas previously it said Clear Stamp Set. These stickers are very sticky. And you know what? Once they've gone on, they are not coming off, not without damaging your stamp and ripping off that foam. Also, once the sticker is on, believe me, it is sticky. So your stamp is going to stick to your clear block and you're not going to have any issues with that at all. Trust me on that one. So I was very much in the camp where I didn't stick stickers on stamps, but now I have no problem sticking stickers on. Okay, now that we've got our stamp ready, I'm using this. So this is, if you have a look at this, so there's 8 stamps in the set, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentiments, and then these gorgeous thistle, well, you've got 2 thistles, and then you've got this one, which is really good for backgrounds. And if I just show you the dies as well, so you have the dies that coordinate, so that one cuts out that shape, this one cuts out this shape, and I'm going to be using this die in a minute. But you've also got these builder pieces, so you can cut out more thistle shapes and layer them up with these leaves and the heads and all the rest of it. But more on that in a minute. That's the next card. This is the one that I'm doing first of all. And wait till you see what I have planned. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So I'm going to use my Stamparatus for this one. And I want to start with a piece of basic white cardstock. And because I'm going to be cutting it out on my mini cut and emboss, I'm just going to check to see. So that's what, about 3.5 inches. So let's cut that to 3 inches so that I know it's going to fit through my mini cut and emboss. Hey Debbie, glad you could join us. Let's stick that on there. I've been using my mini cut and emboss a lot more recently. I love the big one, don't get me wrong, but the mini one is fabulous too, and it's currently free. If you join up, if you get the starter kit bundle, you can get the mini cut and emboss completely free. So this little machine here, this wee gadget. And not only can you get it free, you can either get the white one like I've got, or you can get a blue one. It's called Boho Blue, and it's a new one which is limited edition. It's only available during this sign-up period. It's not going to be available for purchase later. And Boho Blue is going to be one of our new ink colours. So it's really cool. Right, what am I doing now? This is called an embossing buddy. And if you have bought the embossing kit, so you get the embossing buddy, this little brush, you get the tray, and you get a set of tweezers, which are in my pencil case. I'll fish them out in a minute. But embossing buddy, you want to use that before you start any heat embossing. So already I've given you a clue as to what this card is going to look like. So let's take my Versamark, and I'm going to ink up my stamp. Versamark is a really nice sticky ink that helps that helps your embossing powder stick well to your image. So let's do that like that. You can't see, but I can. That's done a beautiful, in fact, if I show it up to the camera, can you see there at all? Yeah, you can see there's my Versamarked image. Let's pop that to one side. And next, I am going to use my gold embossing powder. Now, I have got a piece of, oh no, I was going to say I've got a piece of paper, but I don't need a piece of paper anymore. I'm going to use the tray, like a sensible person. And I'm going to shake my gold embossing powder over the image that I've stamped with Versamark, and then tip it into the tray. Use the brush just to get any little excess bits off the side. But that has come up beautifully. See the detail in that? That's just gorgeous. Love, love, love. Right, so now what I'm going to do is tip the excess powder out of the tray back into the tub. And then I can use my brush just to brush off any of those little bits. Make sure that none of it's going to waste. These little tubs, honestly, they are such good value for money. I have used heat embossing so many times. And this tub, okay, to be fair, this tub is now maybe starting to get close-ish to the bottom, can you see? But I must have had that tub for years. In fact, you can even tell it's got the old logo on it, which is the blue one, because then there was the more recent ones, which was the green, and then the current ones, which is this black and white. So that tells you just how old that embossing powder is. But it's great value, so I don't mind having something that's older. Right, heat gun. This is what I'm going to do next to heat emboss. Hey Julie, glad you're here. Right, and watch, you'll see it change. Tell me if you see it happening. There it goes. Do you see the change? There we go. I don't know if you could see that change to gold as I went, but where it was just, first it was dark, now it's this beautiful gold embossed thistle. It's absolutely gorgeous. Love it. Love, love, love. Right, next plan. Now, the good thing about heat embossing is it does not take long to dry at all. I'm just going to check that. Yeah, see, that is completely dry, so you can rub that or do anything else that you need to with that, which is good because that's what we're going to do next. So I am I'm going to use my Granny Apple Green, I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape, and I'm going to use Fresh Freesia. And I'm going back to the mini blending brushes that we used last week. Do you remember? And at the time, I remember saying, what's the point of a mini blending brush over the big blending brush? Well, actually, the mini blending brushes give you just that little bit more precision. So if I start off with my green, and I'm just going to do blending over these leaves. And you see, I want to avoid that bit in the middle because it's going to be my purpley shades. But if I just use my blending brush to go over these leaves and all the way down the bottom like this, I'm just adding that touch of colour to it with my blending brushes. It's also giving quite a cool background too. There we go. So once I've done my green, next I'm going to use Fresh Freesia, because again, paler colours first, and I'm going to do Fresh Freesia just along those top fringy bits. See, I was going to do Gorgeous Grape in that middle bit, but actually I'm thinking I might just use Fresh Freesia across the whole thing. And you see, with the mini blending brushes, I get far more precision in where I'm adding that colour, because I only want it in that middle part there in that bulb, and then across the fringes at the top. Look at that. And of course, it's only going where the basic white card is, the gold embossing is acting like a relief. Okay, let's cut out this beauty. Life's too short to fussy cut, so we've got our cut and emboss machine, which we're going to crank this through. So, white plate first. Then I'm going to, I've got one of these, that was a little curved. I'm going to use the one that's slightly less curved just because it's easier. Let's put that on there, layer that up. Let's layer my die on top of it. Now, is this going to stay perfectly where I want it, or am I going to go and get some washi tape? Don't be afraid to use washi tape if you want something to stay in place. Let's see how that's going to look. Yeah, I'm just going to get some washi tape. One moment. Sadly, at the moment, Stampin' Up! Don't sell washi tape on its own. They do have it as part of one of the kits, but they don't have washi tape just on its own to purchase, which is a shame because I love washi tape. If you've had parcels from me, you'll know that often I decorate them with washi tape. Not always, but from time to time I like to. Let's stick that down. There we go. That just holds that in place. Right, let's crank it up, crank it through, see what this is going to look like. There we go. So now I've got my gold embossed thistle with my purpley shade at the top and my green leaves at the bottom. Okay, now that I've got my emblem, let's put it together and finish off the card. So what I wanted to try out, I haven't used these before, these are the Craft note card and envelopes. They're in the annual catalogue. You get 20 in the pack. Now, when it says 20, I'm pretty sure it's 20 pieces, as in you get 10 cards and 10 envelopes. I'm just going to double check on that. So, what have we got here? Oh, actually, I could be wrong. Let's see. What have we got in here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I am wrong. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah. So this is actually 20 cards and 20 envelopes. That's better than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, 20 cards and 20 envelopes for £9.50. That's pretty good. And you get, now do you get 2 boxes or 1 box? Sorry, I'm just going to, as you can tell, I haven't actually put this together yet. Let's give this a try. This looks, no, I understand. Right. Does it come with instructions? It does not. That's fine. We can figure this out. We're going to fold over all of these pieces. Actually, yeah, it is very easy to figure out. And believe me, if I can figure it out, you guys will be able to as well. Don't worry. So you're going to fold all of your score lines. There's a little flap up at the top. Right. Do your sides first. So these go in, these 4 little bits go in at the corner. And then this goes up and over and down the way, and that's a base. So then, these need to go in as well. Right, got it. So you fold in those pieces there like that, and these flaps. Then that goes in and over. And then this, so those bits there tuck under. It's a bit of an origami type box, this one. There we go. So that tucks under, and then that folds in, and those little flaps push in. That's actually a really sturdy box. That's really lovely. If you were going to decorate it before you assemble it. So then this bit must be the lid. And it looks as if the lid goes together in a very similar fashion. Let's have a look at these. Yeah, so fold one way, fold the other way, but then that one folds in a reverse. And then the same here. Fold that way, and that's in a reverse. Yeah, so it's exactly the same. You fold over these pieces first, pop that along the bottom, fold over this little piece here, make sure it's caught in like that, and then that final piece, because this is your base, and then these bits here, they tuck in to those little holes there, and that's what puts the whole thing together, makes that really solid. So that's the lid for your box. Hey, that's really nifty. That's really cute. And then your note cards fit in the box. So do you know what? This would be a really cute gift. £9.50 for the box and 20 note cards. You could make those note cards and design them and craft them in lots of different ways, and then give that in a little decorated box, and that would be a lovely gift. Anyway, let's go back to the card that we're doing. So I want to put my thistle on here, but I wanted to make it a bit more interesting. I wasn't just going to put the thistle on the card by itself. So I thought, how can I make this interesting? Oh, and do you know what else I should have used? I should have used adhesive sheets on the back, or foam pads, because actually foam pads might be nice. But before I get to figuring out how I'm going to do that, I have 2 options. So the first one, this is the Dandy Designs 12 by 12 designer series paper. You can see there's 48 sheets in this pack. It's a fabulous pack. And I thought that one looked kind of tartany. And yes, it's Fresh Freesia, which is the same shade of purple that I used for my holly. So for my thistle. So I thought I could have a strip down the edge there, of that tartan plaid type paper. The other option from this pack, which even now as I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of not sure, is this one. So that's using the same green, the Granny Apple green, but then it's also got some balmy blue in there. I think that's too blue. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's pretty, but I think the fuchsia is better. Any opinions? What do you think? The fuchsia one or the bluey one? Which do you think I should use? As always, happy to go with recommendations. I'm hoping you're going to pick fuchsia. I'm going to cut the fuchsia and see what you think. Let's just cut a bit of it. I'm going to cut Fido's. Do you mean fuchsia? Pink, yeah, I agree. And then the plan is to just have a strip along there, like that. Have a strip along that side. Have a strip along the bottom. Strip along the long side, I think. Let's cut it from the long. Should have said fuchsia. It's all right, Debbie. I knew what you meant. Let's just have a look at this. So these are 5-inch cards. Let's cut a 5-inch strip. See what this looks like. Strip to the left, strip to the right. Cut that shorter and have the strip inside. Strip to the left, I think. Hey Harry, lovely to see you. Hope you're doing well. Sending big hugs to you over at that side of the world. I think the strip on the left hand side is going to look best. Let's get some foam pads for this bad boy. And you guys can help me decide on the left hand or on the right hand. What do you think? I'm leaning towards left, but you know I like your input on this stuff. Right, foam pads. You'd never believe it, but I tidied up this room the other day and it's an absolute bomb site again. But I am going to have to tidy it because my classes are starting next month. Exciting, exciting. Yes, don't worry, the dates are going on the website very shortly, but you guys will get first warning on the Facebook page first. It'll be nice to do in-person classes again. It really will. Oh dear, well, big hugs to you, Harry. Oh, at the moment, there's one vote for the right and one vote for the left. Well, while you guys are deciding, I'll stick some foam pads onto my thistle while you fight it out amongst you. Anybody else doing anything nice for Burns Night? I know, like me, some of the other Scots don't do very much for it. We had a lovely Burns Night dinner at the weekend for Tom's friends. We did have haggis, but we have what I call entry-level haggis, which is Balmoral chicken, so it's basically a chicken breast stuffed with haggis and served in a creamy whiskey sauce, which, if I say so myself, was actually quite yummy and went down very well. More votes for the left. Sorry, Julie, I think you're outvoted on this one. She says, secretly happy because she wanted to put it on the left. Right, let's stick that down on there. Bit of trusty Tombow. And then served with our haggis, we had neeps. Anybody here know what neeps are? There's plenty of Scots here. You should be able to explain for the non-Scots what neeps are. We had tatties. That's an easier one. Again, you should be able to translate. And carrots, which is the same as Scottish as it is in everything else. And then we had Cranachan for dessert, which went down well. Well done, Harry. So Neeps is turnip and tatties is spuds or potatoes. So both the Neeps were mashed with a little bit of butter, and the tatties were mashed as well. A little bit of butter, a little bit of warm milk. And then Cranachan, for those who haven't had that, it's basically raspberries with cream, where the cream has been whipped up with honey and whiskey. And then you use some toasted oats as well, just to give it a little bit of crunch. Right. Before I stick this down, I have had a thought. Right, here is my thought. Given that we're using the fresh freesia, a little bit around the stem of the thistle, I think that would go very well. Dunedin, little Edinburgh of the South. You're one of us at heart, Harry. We know that. You need to come back and visit. I'd love to see you back up this neck of the woods again. And as much as I love you, Australia is very much the land of nope. You have too many things trying to kill me. Not a fan of some of your wildlife. Do you know what? Let's tie that a little lower. The fact I've got sticky things on the back. Note to self. Tie ribbon before sticking on sticky things. Let's just do this as a knot rather than a bow. And it's beautiful ribbon, this fresh freesia. Organdy it is, I think. Open weave, fresh freesia. Let's just trim that slightly. There we go. And then that's going to stick on to our notlet. There we go. How about that? And you've got the gold embossing that shows beautifully. Right, what it needs now though is a sentiment. So let's go back to the stamp set, which I have balanced somewhere. And I think Best Wishes is just going to be the best one here. Let's do Best Wishes. And I think just doing that in my fresh freesia is going to be the way to go. Let's just grab a clear block. Right. Now, the one thing I'm concerned about is whether the fresh freesia is going to show up against this. Let's try it, but I am prepared that I may need to cover it up with some basic white. Let's give this a shot, see what we think. Yeah, you see, it's just too pale, isn't it? You can't really make that out. So, plan B, where's my bit of basic white from before? Right, plan B, let's give this a try. Best Wishes. Yeah. Managed to just press the whole ink pad down on my hand, so I'm going to be fresh freesia flavoured for the rest of the day. Let's just trim this. Trim a little bit off the top as well. And then all I want to do is cut it to there, and then do down the middle like that, and then from one side to the other, just to do a bit of a fishtail like that. And then that can stick over the top just there. That's going to work. Put a wee foam pad on there. Nobody needs to know. There we go. It was a pale mistake. Caption said freezer. Have I got subtitles on? You got subtitles going for me? Oh dear. There we go. Actually, I like that with the whisper, with the basic white on the bottom. I think it just helps it stand out a little bit more. There we go. So, actually, I'm on a roll. While we've got our envelope, let's decorate our envelope as well. So I was thinking of just putting a strip of that along there, but actually I'm going to decorate the whole flap of the envelope. Where's my DSP here? Do we all know how to decorate envelope flaps? It's really simple. Wait till you see this. So I'm going to take my envelope flap and measure that. So that's 2 inches. So what I want to do is cut a strip that is 2 inches. And then take your envelope. And so I'm using, so obviously this is the outer flap of my envelope that I'm going to put glue on. There we go. Next, I'm going to take my strip and I'm just going to line it up with that folded edge, because again I want it to be right up to the fold there. So let's do it like that, stick it all the way down. Don't use too much glue because then it spurts out the edges and you end up covered in glue and it just makes a mess. Less is more here. And then what you're going to do is turn it over and just with your scissors trim round the edge of that flap. Does not take long at all, but it looks really cute. There we go. So now I have got a decorated envelope to go with my tartan card, best wishes. And the whole thing can go in my little box here. What do we think? Do you like it? Are you happy with that first card that we've done this evening? I quite like it. I think it's cute. Let me know what you think. And I'm going to move on to the next card. So, clear the decks just a little bit here. The next card I'm going to do is using the dies. And let's figure out how that sticks back on there. That's right. And what I want to do is I'm going to use the stem and the leaf. I'm glad you like it. And then I'm going to use, I'm using the little ones here rather than the big one because I'm planning on making a row of these little thistles. So you've got these bits which kind of go on the bottom and the top. So let's look at what I'm doing next. I'm going to use, now I Adhesive sheets or foam sheets? Let's use the foam sheets. I never use the foam sheets as much as I should, and they are fabulous. Let me just grab the foam sheets. Right, let's see what you think of these colours. My plan is to do, let's get some of this. So I'm going to use my garden green for the stems. So let's pull out some of these scraps. I am trying to be better at using scraps rather than always reaching for full sheets. She says, reaching for a full sheet. I actually have no scraps of Tahitian Tide, so that's why I'm reaching for that one. Right, but I'm using Mango Melody as my kind of like yellow-orange. I'm going to use, this is, my mind has gone blank. What pink is that? It's not polished pink, because that was an in colour that's gone. Flamingo, Flirty Flamingo. That's that shade. I'm going to stick with Fresh Freesia as our purple, because I think this is working well for us. And then I want to have a Granny Apple Green as well. What do you think of these? If there's any shades that you think I should be swapping out, speak now. But at the moment, this is what I'm going for. Do you like them? Would you recommend any different ones? You guys decide on my rainbow colours while I get this set up and start cutting out my stems. So, not sure about the first one. What colour did I say that was? Flirty Flamingo. Flirty Flamingo is not a shade I use very often. And maybe I should use it more. You think it's lovely and cheerful? Oh, lovely. Thank you. Could join us, Linda. It's good to see you. There's a couple of different Lindas that sometimes join us on the calls, but it's always lovely to see you. All right. There we go. So I'm using foam sheets here on my garden green before I start. If you've not seen me use foam sheets before, they are fab. You can use them for all sorts of projects, but they're really good for running through cut and emboss. So let's take off a slice of the turquoise, because I think I am going to go with that. In the absence of any other advice from my creative consultants over there, let's start running this stuff through. So, I'm going to pop that on. I'm going to do the leaves at the same time. Space it nice and close together. I can't be the only stingy Scot who wants to make the most of my cardstock. My husband Tom, he will often help me with my die cutting or punching out shapes or things like that, and he's obsessed with the yield, you know, making sure that you get the optimum amount off of the paper or the cardstock, especially if it's designer series paper or metallic paper. He's determined to always get the very best out of it. Right, let's pull these off. It's come straight off the backing already. Because it's got the foam sheets on the other side, it can sometimes be a little... To be fair, it has cut perfectly all the way through. I'm just trying to do it and get the backing of the foam sheet to stay in place rather than it all come off. See, it came off on that one. Let's run this through again, because I'm going to do five thistles in my different colours. Frugal crafting. Thank you, Linda. I'm glad you're there with me. Waste not, want not. Isn't that right? If you don't waste, then you'll have more to play with. Although I have to say my scraps pile is starting to get a little bit excessive. I am trying to be better at it. I really am. I have scraps folders that sit next to all of my full sheets. So before I go for a full sheet, I really should be going for the scrap version first. There we go. There's another set of leaves. Do you think all of the stems need leaves? I might try and do a couple of stems without leaves. Or is that me being stingy now? I don't want to be stingy. We have got plenty. I mean, there's plenty of card, there's plenty of foam. I'm going to cut off these bits so that it's easier to go through. Being frugal is a very Scottish thing to do anyway, isn't it? Although some call us stingy, which is very unfair. There are very few people quite as generous as the Scots, especially when it comes to hospitality. We've got a food and a dram for anyone that comes our way. And as I say, proved that at the weekend. Tom had 3 of his friends from Bristol came up to spend the weekend. We had a fabulous time with them. We had our Burns supper, and then that was on the Saturday night, and on the Friday night we did something else which is very Scottish, which was a full Indian feast. There are many fabulous Indian restaurants in Glasgow, and my mum has taught me well when it comes to Indian cookery. I use many of the recipes that she has shared, and we had a fabulous Indian feast with the guys on the Friday. And then the next morning had a fry up with square sausage. For those of you unfamiliar with Scottish food, our sausages are square, not round. An iron brew, which cures any problems of the morning after, especially because they had consumed quite a lot of whiskey. If any of the dudes are watching tonight or watching on Catch Up, it was lovely hosting you. We had a fabulous time. I don't think they're going to be here, but you never know. You never know. We were talking about favourite YouTubers and some of the channels that they watch, and I mentioned that, you know, I'm live and I'm on YouTube, but I don't think crafting is quite their cup of tea, which is fine. We're all different, we all have different hobbies, and it's certainly not a problem. Right, I think I now have cut, was anybody else counting? I think I've got five stems and 5 leaves made it out of my garden green. Made it in just a no more. I don't think I'd have got a 6th set off here. Let's pop that over. So now it's time to start doing the coloured heads. Now, again, would very much like your opinion on this, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to do both the head and the fringe in the same colour. And I suppose if you look, I did that all in purple and purple. Or do you think that bit should be green? You see, now I'm doubting myself. Somebody want to have a quick Google of a thistle and tell me whether that bit's meant to be green or whether it's meant to be purple. I'm going to start cutting out these top bits, and we can see what the verdict is. But let's just start cutting out these little top bits for just now. What do you think? Green top bits, green bulbs, or coloured bulbs? What do we think would look best? Can we start cutting out the bits for when we do? Green for the bottom bit. Yeah, okay. As I say, always happy to go with recommendations from my creative council. So if it's going to be green, it's probably going to be garden green, the same as the, oh, you see, Julie's gone in there saying coloured. Right, you guys fight it out amongst yourselves, whether that bulb's going to be green or coloured, and I'm going to start cutting top bits. See. At the moment it's 1 vote each, and you know I'm very fair. I will stick with the majority ruling most of the time. No, I do usually go with the majority on these things. Purple. So the bottom bit should be purple. Well, the top bits are going to be multicoloured. So it's whether, and the stems are going to be green. So it's whether that bulb in the middle, purple for all of them, or just purple for the purple one. Let's start to kind of do a little assembly. I love the detail on this, by the way. That's just so cute. So at the moment, we've got that. We've got, let's find one of these that's got the backing still on it. There we go. We've got those, the leaves in the garden green. I'm going to go that way, probably. And now it's just this bit. So do we do that bit in green, or do we do it in one of the colours? Or in purple, which is one of the options at the moment. Let me start cutting these out. Of course, the other option to Googling it is I can just look it up in the catalogue. But at the end of the day, I'm allowed to be inspired and to do different things. We don't have to follow tradition. We don't have to follow what's in the catalogue. We can do things our own way. We can be inspired to do something new. And I do like the idea of rainbow thistles. I think it's bright and cheery. It's been a really bright and sunny day today. I don't know where all the rest of you are based, but here in Glasgow, it's actually been a really lovely day. Although it's that time of year when the sun is so low that no matter where you're driving, you just end up with the sun in your eyes. But better that than rain. I'm still very much undecided. I think what I may end up doing is cutting one of them in garden green and one of them in one of the colours, and then holding them together and taking the vote on it that way. Would that help if you saw the options side by side? Would that help? Sometimes it can be hard to picture it, can't it? Let's see. Let's just do our Final one here. You've had torrential rain, Marion. I'm really sorry to hear that. But good for the garden, I suppose. I'm very excited that my daffodils have been coming up outside. Don't have any flowers yet, but I can see the green shoots poking through. And there's other green shoots poking through, which might be tulips or they might be snowdrops. It's hard to tell at this stage because I planted both in the same container. And I'm not sure which one survived. So, right. So those are our little thistle tops. Let's do one in the garden green and do one in a colour and see what we think. It would help, Karen. It would, wouldn't it? I should have just done this in the first place to give us an idea. So let's do it in garden green. By the way, these foam pads, the foam sheets, they're working an absolute treat. If you haven't tried them yet, I would strongly recommend you add them to your next order because they really do make stuff like this so much easier to do. Right, so there it is with the garden green. Which way round does it go? I think it goes that way round. So that's it with garden green. Let's try a Mango Melody one. Although at the moment, I have to say it guys, I think it's probably going to be garden green, isn't it? Give this a try. Where did I put it? Let's try it here. Yeah, you're right, Karen. I think green is going to look the best. It certainly looks good just now. Let's just try it with the yellow just for comparison's sake so that we can see. Let's put another one of the stems beside it. Yeah, it looks best with the green, doesn't it? Let's give that a go. Any other votes? At the moment, Karen and I think, are in agreement. Oh, that was silly if I nearly stuck the foam pad to the, the die cutting sheet. That would have been very silly, Emma. Oh, you can't see. That's a good point. Sorry, Julie. Let me move them down. So let's move it over here so you can see. So that's it with the green and with the stem. And then that's it all in the colour again with the stem and the leaf. That just looks like a pineapple to me. I think it does need to be the green, doesn't it? They're out of the shot. Thanks, Linda. Yes, I just realised that because I'm a numpty. There's another very Scottish word for you on this Burns night. But yeah, I think the green probably looks best here, doesn't it? Let's cut some more of these. Won't take long. See, this is the sort of project which you sometimes think, oh, is it going to be really fiddly? Is it going to be really complicated? But actually it's not. Let's just sit and cut these out while you're watching the telly. 3. So I need 2 more. And then I have an idea for the base of this card, which is, again, is an idea I haven't tried yet, but we're going to give it a go. Some of my ideas work out. Not all of them, but some of them. Find one of these. Did anybody else do any Burns poetry when they were a child? I remember doing lots. Not just at school, although I remember we used to do a lot of Scottish country, well, we used to do Scottish country dancing, but we used to sing songs as well. We had a Scottish choir that we used to do. But I used to do a lot of speech and drama when I was little. And we quite often would use either Burns poems or other Scots poems as recital pieces. So, yeah, I think the one everybody always remembers is the Sair Finger. I'm sure many of us here did the Sair Finger at school. That's not Burns though, that's just a Scottish poem. The other one I remember fondly is up in the morning's no for me, up in the morning early, when the hills are covered with snow, I'm sure it's winter fairly. Which, if any of you know me well, you'll know that up in the morning is no for me. I'm really not a fan of early morning starts, but sometimes that's all you can do. Right, I've got my thick Whisper White here that I'm cutting to 14.8. So this is just half a sheet of A4. And then I'm going to score it at 7.4 to make a slimline card, because this is the plan, which I'm now worried that these stems, we're going to do them at a jaunty angle. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Slimline card for that. And then my background, ta-da! Right, this is the vellum out of the new Spring Summer catalogue. So there's 3 different designs. So you've got these leaves, which are beautiful. You've got the spots, which are also lovely. And then you've got the stripes. But do you know what you can do with stripes? Because it's vellum, William McGonagall, yes, I remember doing some of his poems. What I want to do with my striped vellum, let's cut it down. So instead of 7, I want to do, do I want to do 5 or 4? Let me just, I'm going to do 5, actually 2 inches, that fits. Let's do 2 inches strip like that. And then, yeah, I'm going to need another one. Then another 2 inches. Then what I'm going to do is cut my 2 strips of vellum. So I'm going to cut them to 14.8 because that's the width of my card. And then, because vellum is see-through, I've got 2 pieces. If I flip one over onto the other, see that? Kind of get a plaid effect. That's the kind of effect I was going for. Let's see. You can kind of see it when the light's shining on it. Do you see that? So this is giving me an almost tartany plaid effect. Not those strips. These. Oh, wait a minute. What have I done? Oh, I am such an umpty. I've cut them the wrong length. Because I need to cut it 21 centimetres, Emma, not that. That is the perfect size for a C6. But this isn't a C6. This is a slimline. Start again, Emma. Oh, dear. But it was a good idea, though, wasn't it? Actually, I wonder if that's about 21. Save me cutting. You know what? It's pretty close. Let's just cut it in this direction. That way I'll still have more left over. So there we go. There we go. So again, I've got my 2 in the stripes, but I'm going to turn one of them upside down. So now I've got this kind of plaid effect vellum, which is going to go down the centre of my card like that. So for this, I'm going to use my tear tape. I'm just going to put a strip all the way down the centre like that. And then line these up so that they're on top of each other. There we go, tartan vellum, who knew? And then let's put another strip all the way down the centre and stick it onto my card. There we go. And I've got, it's annoying because the light is shining on it, you can't see so much, but in person you can see. Trying to tilt it so that you can see it, because right now all you're just seeing is one step stripes, but you're just going to have to trust me. It looks tartany. Okay, let's start putting our stems on. I'm going to start with the center one and then do the edge ones, making sure I leave enough space. Yeah, I'm tilting these in a jaunty angle because I need to leave enough space for the heads. There we go. Let's stick this one down as well. Then they're also quite flexible, these stems. You can kind of stick them down and then twist them, which looks quite cool. Right, let's put on our green bits here. Stick on there. That one. Stick down there. And again, the foam pads just make these so easy to put in place. Oops. Some lovely textures on these as well. Do you see the little bits there that are done? I think that's quite cool. Right, so my flirty flamingo at the front. Mango Melody, which I love because it's kind of a bright yellow or a pale orange. It just works, I think. Granny Apple Green. Everyone who knows me knows I love my apples. Tahitian Tide is the blue that I went for. This is a lovely bright blue, one of our in colours. We've got it for another year and a bit yet. I'll be sad when it leaves. And then Fresh Freesia to finish off with at the end. There we go. Oh, I was going to say there's something missing. Yes, Emma, there's all the leaves. Let's put these on. I spent all that time die cutting them. Should absolutely make sure that I put them on. They almost look like people holding hands, don't they? And that one, I think I'm That one I think I'm going to trim and just have a single leaf on that one rather than multiple. Let's just tuck that in there like that. Stick an extra leaf onto one of them. Leave it off. Leave it off, I think. And there we go. There's our thistle card. I haven't put a sentiment on this one, but I don't think it needs it. I was wondering about putting some Wink of Stella and blinging this up, but again, I think it's fine the way it is. So any thoughts or comments, anything you'd have done differently, anything you want to see me try, let me know. But for tonight, I think that might be us. Having a look at the time, yeah, we're probably out of time. So these were the 2 cards we made this evening then. So we had, first of all, the thistle, the stamp itself. Where's my stamp set gone? Here. So the beautiful thistle stamp set. So that's using this beautiful thistle here, done with gold embossing, and then using the mini blending brushes to add the colour to that, and then the Dandy Designs DSP to decorate the card and the envelope. Remember, these are the craft notelets where you get 20 and the box, $9.50. Really, really good ones, those ones. Loving that. And then this one, which is just using the coordinating dies to go with this set. So all the different sizes of thistles, and then the different colours, using the vellum as the background, and using the foam sheets as well to make them stand up and pop. Lovely. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this evening. I've certainly had a lot of fun. Wish you all a fabulous Burns night. And, oh, let me flip back so I can have a look at you and see you in person. And let me put out this light so that it's not blinding. There we go. Thank you very much for joining me with crafting tonight. If there's any questions or anything that you want to know or ask, then please just get in touch. And yeah, absolutely lovely crafting with you. See you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.